This is unabashedly a mental illness where you are so like brain rotted from conservative rhetoric and conservative talking points that you see a story about Millie Gibson in a plunging red mini dress for her 19th birthday weekend and immediately make it about trans people. Last week was the birthday of someone incredibly important to the Doctor Who community, to its future, an incredible young talent, a bright star who makes everybody around them just better and happier for their very existence. I'm of course referring to me, but also it was Millie Gibson's birthday as well. She turned 19 this past weekend. And we also got these lovely photos today on location from @set_Doctor who gifted her the 1960s outfits, custom minifigs of Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday. And she shared it on her Instagram as well, which Ncuti Gatwa also shared in his Instagram stories as well. Isn't that really, really cool? However, because we live on completely normal island in the United Kingdom, when it was Millie Gibson's 19th birthday this weekend, the tabloid press decided, let's take advantage of the SEO search algorithms and etc., and just run a bit of a hit piece, really. This is from The Mirror, written by three people, Janin Yakub, Nicola Fahy, and Laura Armstrong, saying exclusive, Doctor Who star Millie Gibson branded a, quote, diva after being annoyed about night shoots. Insiders say that while Millie Gibson has thrown herself into the project, she has been struggling to deal with night shoots since filming began in Cardiff last month. Millie Gibson has been ruffling a few feathers behind the scenes on Doctor Who, with some branding her a, quote, diva. The former Corrie actress will star alongside Ncuti Gatwa and Jonathan Groff in the forthcoming run of the cult BBC sci-fi series, but insiders say that while Millie has thrown herself into the project, she has been struggling to deal with night shoots since filming began in Cardiff last month. They also claimed the actress's attitude has not gone down well with members of the production team. One said of Millie, who plays new companion Ruby Sunday, quote, no one could question Millie's commitment to Doctor Who, but there's a lot of pressure coming into a role like this. She is determined to get it right, but the days are long, and at times, when night filming has been suggested, she has made her feelings clear. Millie is a pro on set, and although night shoots are part of the job, they can be tiring for even the most experienced actors. She won't be the first or last person to be annoyed by a night shoot, but it has won her some snippy comments behind the scenes. The word diva has been used once or twice when tempers are fraying. Everyone on set wants the show to be as good as it can be within the time frame they have, and that does take a toll on people at times. So, this article is basically wanting to have its cake and libel it too, where you get Millie Gibson, like, I have no doubt that Millie and maybe other people in the production have had a hard time with night shoots. But this is absolutely a non-story because filming is stressful, filming is difficult, but I think it's the use of the word diva and the fact that they're getting somebody who, 18 at the time, now 19, trying to push this tabloid conservative narrative of the younger people of these days. Back in my day, we went down pit. It's the Monty Python sketch.
House. You were lucky to live in a house. We used to live in one room, all 26 of us, no furniture, half the floor was missing. We're all huddled together in one corner for fear of falling.
You were lucky to have a room. We used to have to live in the corridor.
Oh, we used to dream of living in a corridor.
I had to get up in the morning at 10 o'clock at night, half an hour before I went to bed. Eat a lump of cold poison, work 29 hours a day down mill and pay mill owner for permission to come to work, and when we got home, our dad would kill us and dance about on our grave, singing hallelujah.
Are you trying to tell the young people of today that? And they won't believe you.
No, they won't.
It's basically that. It's the idea that the young Gen Z or whatever generation that Millie Gibson is a part of as an 18, 19-year-old person is trying to push that narrative of the ungrateful young stars, and because she's one of the faces of the upcoming era of Doctor Who, they're able to just put her in the headline and say, basically without any sort of provocation, that, she's been branded a diva after being annoyed about night shoots. Now, I will say that night shoots are stressful, and I honestly have no doubt that members of the production, potentially even Millie herself as well, have found them difficult, because, I'm assuming the BBC and Bad Wolf for Doctor Who have followed this protocol as well, but when you're doing a night shoot, if you've been doing day shoots, you legally need to give your crew and your cast a couple of days grace period to adjust to the new sleep schedule. Like, for example, you do day shoots one week and then you finish on the Friday. You can't do night shoots again until the Monday or the Tuesday night of the next week, because they need a few days to readjust their sleep schedule, because it becomes part of the work. And then night shoots are, you're sometimes on some productions you're paid more for the night shoot as well, but sometimes those days off are not enough, and it's very difficult to adjust to that new sleep schedule. And night shoots as well are grueling for people who might be more prone to SAD, which is seasonal affectiveness disorder. I think that's the acronym. It can particularly affect people's mental health during winter months as well, when the days are shorter, where it's like 4 p.m. and the sun's gone down, and the fact that the lack of light, the lack of vitamin D, the lack of sunlight and stuff, it affects your mood. It brings you down. It brings your mood and energy and emotions down and causes you to plummet, basically. Some people are particularly susceptible to SAD, which can make night shoots incredibly difficult. But like, this is just an absolute non-story here. But what I wanted to do, though, with this is to go through the people who are the most committed Daily Mirror readers, the most committed to making their voices heard on these tabloids, and go through some of these comments as well. And then you'll kind of see the type of audience that they're trying to push at here. Toxman12, be very careful, young lady. Don't get too big for your boots, as the people who put you where you are now could just as easily turn their backs on you. Be grateful. Get over yourself, silly little girl. Just get on with what you're paid to do. Who do you think you are? I didn't watch The Last Doctor. I won't be watching this one, as the public in general are not used to seeing a real Doctor these days. Some might be curious, but I'm not. That's just a nonsense comment. Just get on with it or quit. You chose the profession knowing it can be grueling. You take a job, you do as required, it will be in a contract. An ex-Corrie actress says it all at her age, diva. See, that's what the purpose of this Daily Mirror article is about. It's about pushing this narrative. It's about pushing this idea that young people or young celebrities, at the very least, at the most charitable reading of it, are ungrateful, entitled, spoiled, they don't know how good they've got it, and they unironically believe the meme, like strong men create good times create weak men create... Like, they unironically believe that sort of stuff. And honestly, I'm absolutely certain that these comment sections, the people who write these comments as well, trying to deal psychologically with the aspect of being super duper duper attractive to Millie Gibson, but also hating her guts as well, because she's a young Gen Z. And they would also probably love her significantly more if she was about 4 or 5 years younger. Speaking of which, let's go over to the Daily Mail. She's made her feelings clear. Doctor Who star Millie Gibson branded a diva after struggling to deal with night shoots since filming began in Cardiff. And while I was preparing this live stream, and I googled Daily Mail Millie Gibson, they actually got 2 articles out of this. Millie Gibson slips into a plunging red mini dress as she enjoys a glamorous birthday weekend after being branded a diva by Doctor Who crew. They got 2 articles out of this, written by 2 separate people. The first one by Cody Bullen, which is basically just crib and notes from the Daily Mirror read, and then Laura Fox for the Mail Online for this second one, in the red dress. I've got all these photos we've stolen from her Instagram. We've got paparazzi photos and stuff for her birthday as well. This is absolutely, like, unabashed, absolutely shameless, just trying to create a negative stigma around this star for basically no reason. And look, when it comes to the Daily Mirror, they're absolutely sending their best. She's certainly a looker, is the latest comment from 55 minutes ago. But the best rated one of the highest rated comments as well, from Dave, it's a bloke. This is unabashedly a mental illness where you are so, like, brain rotted from conservative rhetoric and conservative talking points that you see a story about Millie Gibson in a plunging red mini dress for her 19th birthday weekend and immediately make it about trans people. Immediately turn it to that topic. This is kind of unabashedly a mental illness, and people like Dave, just to clarify, are also victims to a certain extent. They're a victim of conservative ideology, conservative rhetoric. We do know that the current plan, the current electoral strategy of the Conservative Party in the UK is to effectively make its voter base so afraid, so schizophrenic, that they will vote against reality itself. And before you say, Mr. TARDIS, that's a bit, of a leap too far, MPs like Lee Anderson have openly said that that is the strategy, to focus on culture war stuff. Now, what is this obsession with drag? Oh, it's the BBC, says it all. Once again, I must remind you, an article about Millie Gibson celebrating her birthday. They turn this into a conversation about drag. Perhaps the role could be given to Nicola Sturgeon since she is looking for a job right now. But actually the thought of her in that red mini dress is almost making me spit out my breakfast. This is unironically from C. Travin. Basically, this is the smartest Conservative right now. But also you've got the whole, we hate her, but we also love her. Might start watching Doctor Who again. While she's quite stunning. Leaves very little to the imagination. She is a fit but needs to concentrate on the job. It's her birthday weekend and she was away for her birthday. It's so weird. But yeah, let's go to the other. This is the original write-up as well. She's made her feelings clear. Doctor Who star branded a diva after struggling to deal with night shoots since filming began in Cardiff. Basically, we're dealing here as well. Blimey, these pages go on for so long because they've got so many other... Basically, with these comments here, we've got... They're sending their best. These are the smartest, most literate Conservatives who read the Daily Mail. So they're a good litmus test for what that side of the political aisle is thinking right now. Why do the job if you're going to complain about it? Like, no, I don't do that. Like, I've got a doctor's note and everything. Maybe she's Princess Fiona and changes as the sun goes down. Bit of a contradiction. They say she's a total pro that gets tired. We all do, but surely who hasn't started? See, this is actually quite a reasonable one. There we go. If Millie wants to be an actor, she will have to knuckle down, i.e. get on with it. She's a poor actress. Anyone thinks she is better than she is. That's her career on tatters. Unreliable. Fancy asking her to film at night. How very dare they? Hardly working at the coalface. See, I actually said that bit as a joke about Monty Python. Working down pit 20 hours a day. That was back in my... But working at the coal... This is genuinely actually the rhetoric that they're dealing with. This is the mission statement here. Disaster incoming, unlikable lead actors. The worst box-ticking show ever on the BBC. Wokeness overload. Defund the BBC. You have to have an absolute clinical separation from reality to look at Millie Gibson, an 18, now 19-year-old white woman, presumably straight, from Manchester, and see her as a box tick. This is honestly how far down the pipeline some of these people are. Just your average Daily Mail reading Conservative right now, just your average late teens woman, white woman, blonde from Manchester is now box ticking, is a diversity hire. Honestly, it is mental illness. There's no other way to describe this. People who just read the Daily Mail all day and get mad at white women taking over the roles. Made for the Alphabet Brigade and forgetting the core family audience. Woke tripe. Dr. Woke tripe. The cast and crew should be bowing down before the smoking hot babe that is Millie G. And what's funny is that this got 67 thumbs down. Like, no, we're not meant to be bowing down to her. We hate her for reasons that we can't quite discern. It is very funny. It is partly funny, but we also have to remember that these people have the exact same voter influence as you do. Their vote counts for as much as yours. But yeah, so these are obviously hit pieces against Millie Gibson to try and sully her name on her birthday weekend because she's associated with the Doctor Who. And like I said, maybe she is annoyed about the night shoot. I think that's perfectly reasonable. And honestly, I honestly doubt the diva bit. Or I honestly doubt the fact that people in the production team are upset with her behaviour, especially considering the framing of this, that no one could question her commitment to Doctor Who. She's determined to get it right. Millie is a pro on set. The fact that they've added that stuff, but also saying that the production team are calling her a diva, as far as I'm concerned, these two are completely mutually exclusive. These don't make sense. When you are part of a film crew, and you also, for a minute here, need to sort of remove yourself from the conservative tabloid state of mind, in that you need to actually have basic empathy and interact with people in the real world for a second, or see things from their perspective. Millie and the rest of the production crew have been filming since the beginning of December. So December, January, February, March, April, May, June. They've been filming for 7 going on 8 months now. And now they're doing night shoots in Cardiff. Almost non-stop. They've had a break for Christmas. They've had some weekends away and stuff like that. But it's grueling. And when you are like in the top echelons of Doctor Who, Shooter Gatwa, Millie Gibson, Russ T Davies, Julie Gardner, etc., the big names that are the public faces of the show, that comes with a lot of pressure. Definitely. And I'm sure that sometimes the pressure can be overwhelming. It makes her stressful. Completely get it. But they're in it together. They're a film crew. There is a reason for the stereotype of the liberal TV studio or the liberal TV crew, because they're in it together, they work together in a diverse group of people. There's some truth to that stereotype, but I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just working together for a common goal. I'm sure a lot of people found the night shoot stressful, Millie included. They're in it together, which is why I don't believe the idea that she's singled out specifically as being a diva, or causing trouble, or the production team would name her specifically as a cause for concern or worry. That's why I call this a hit job. It is mutually exclusive rhetoric from their insider source, and it's still a non-story. It's madness. And then when you go into the comment section, you realise, oh, this is the narrative it's pushing. We want to try and get people riled up about Doctor Who, or Doctor Woke, am I right, from the BBC, because she's part of a show. She's also young, she's pretty, so she's she's a valid target in the tabloids as well. You hate her, you want her out of this world, but you also really, really, really find her attractive. Hence the plunging red mid. This is like, and they want to try and say that the LGBTQ plus community are trying to sexualize young people. Get the hell out of here. Daily Mail. They know what they're doing. They know the audience that they're pandering to. They know the audience that they're trying to incite and make angry. They know what they're doing. I mean, this is just bullying, not journalism. Yeah, it absolutely is. They've used the plausible deniability of this as an insider source to essentially try and slap a target on the back of a young star just because she's in Doctor Who, and because it allows them to have provocative photos in the article as well. It's like a really insidious number of factors that have come together just to try and get clicks. Callum Stack, the fact that the majority of those comments just take the article at face value without any thought of maybe it's not true, it's just staggering. Yeah, well, they're Daily Mail readers. You have to have an incredibly low threshold for what you believe is reality, or what you believe the truth is. There's a reason Tim Pool uses the Daily Mail as his primary source for basically everything he talks about online.